The teacher held the brooch in his hand. The teacher held a brooch and pushed it into the girl's fingertips. The girl can control her magic. Unlike the other teacher passed the brooch through the girl's fingertips without a second thought. Although the operation was the same. But the students of the Evil Academy were in severe pain. Because in order to obtain the power of evil, they had to endure unbearable pain. In the following classroom test, the girl pulled up her hair to reveal the dragon tattoo on her neck. Under the teacher's excited gaze, a young dragon crawled out of the girl's body. And this is the much-anticipated magical fantasy. After Harry Potter, the much-anticipated magical fantasy, the School for Good and Evil. Legend has it that all the heroes and villains of fairy tales, all heroes and villains of all fairy tales are students from this academy, the School for Good and Evil. Every year a group of students are recruited from all over the world. After 3 years of training, the two sides will finally compete at the academy to determine the power of the fairy tale world. But so far, the Evil Academy has been losing for over 200 years. Just when the Mentor of Doom was at his wit's end, the arrival of two children from the countryside. The arrival of two children from the countryside created a storm of bloodshed. Agatha. Agatha is a girl who lives in a cabin in the cemetery. Because of her mother's status as a witch, Agatha suffered prejudice in this town. Even walking down the street, she could feel the villagers' disgusted eyes. But despite all the obstacles in her life, she still chose to face the world with a smile. That day, Agatha found a homeless lamb. She was about to go up to him. She was blocked by a big man in the alley. He told Agatha that witches were not welcome in this town. And when Agatha panicked, a girl came along and saved her. The girl's name was May. She looked beautiful and generous. She was abused by her stepsisters every day. Since she was a child, she had one wish: to be a princess at the Academy of Goodness. Every day she sends her application to the Academy of Magic, hoping that they would take her away from this place. That night, Xiao Mei came to the grove as usual, waiting for the messenger to take her away. But Agatha came after her. She told her to realize the truth. She told her that she couldn't live in a fairy tale every day. That's when it happened. A blood-red sky fell over the forest. Before they could react, Xiao Mei was grabbed by a black mist. She screamed in excitement. But Agatha was right behind her. Soon the fog left her in the middle of the road. Before she could complain to Agatha, a big bird flew out from the woods and grabbed them both. After crossing the blood-red sky, they finally arrived at the legendary Academy of Good and Evil Magic. But what was strange to May was that Big Bird threw Agatha into the Academy of Good. That meant she was about to enter the Academy of Evil. May was thrown heavily into the gutter. She couldn't accept this fact. The first thing she did was to talk to her teacher. She thought beauty was a sign of goodness. She was so beautiful. How could she be assigned to an evil college? She didn't realize that goodness is not in the eyes of the beholder. It's what's inside. Unsurprisingly, the teacher rejected this request. At the same time, Agatha felt that the school had made a mistake in assigning the two of them. Because of her surroundings since childhood, she felt that she lacked the character of kindness. Despite the efforts of the teachers at Sionin, Agatha's decision was not changed. At night they met secretly. They decided to go to the principal to find out what happened. But as soon as they entered the door, I saw a brush writing on its own. It turns out that every person who comes to the academy, the brush will write a story according to their own circumstances. Writes a story. This is the origin of every fairy tale. After learning about the two of them, the principal asked them a question. What is evil? Can never be possessed. But goodness is indispensable. May said, I know. Hare horse's true love. Only with true love's kiss, May can change her destiny. In order to repay her favor, Agatha decided to fulfill her wish. In the next day's class, Agatha began to help May to choose her target. But she fell in love with the prince of the Good Samaritan Hospital. She asked Agatha to find a way to show her love, though her heart was in turmoil. But for the sake of Xiao Mei's future, she finally agreed to do it. But before she could take action, Xiao Mei had an accident. Because she wanted to change to the good school. Naturally the students of the Evil Academy were not happy about it. So in a class to stimulate talent, the girl summoned an evil dragon. She wanted to teach May a lesson. But to everyone's surprise, just when May was in danger, a swarm of wasps broke through the window and nailed the dragon to the wall. The girl also fell to the ground in pain. She was about to die of suffocation. Xiao Mei shouted, "Stop!" The wasp stopped attacking. But the next moment, as everyone watched, condensed into a human form. And the moment he saw it, the teacher's face was filled with horror. It turns out she's the principal's brother, and the founder of the Evil Academy. Since thousands of years ago, after the two brothers fought for the fairness of the two houses, he mysteriously disappeared. Since then the House of Evil has never beaten the Good House again. Meanwhile, Agatha, who was taking classes at the Good House, Agatha had discovered some secrets she didn't know. It was a special class at the Good Samaritan's house. The teacher made the students put their hands in water. The teacher asked the students to put their hands in the water to make a wish. Everyone else wanted to see their family and friends. Only Agatha wanted to take May home. She wished for everyone to go home. Suddenly the fish in the water began to boil. They slowly transformed into a human form. It turns out, every student who comes to the academy has a fixed test. If they fail 3 times they'll disappear. The girl in front of me had failed the test for 100 years. It was Agatha's wish that saved her. At that moment, a big bird flew over. Everyone was scared and ran away. Only Agatha noticed that it was behaving like one of the cadets. Like a cadet who had disappeared not long ago. Just as Agatha was about to confirm it, the prince who had a sense of justice killed him with his sword. The prince thought it was a story of a hero saving a woman's life. But Agatha punched him in the face. Seeing that the scene was in chaos, the teacher rushed to disperse the crowd. But all of this, Agatha's impression of the Good Samaritan Academy changed. May asked the teacher, is this what it means to be good? Destroying good people, just because they can't fulfill your unrealistic demands. What kind of goodness is that? The teacher tried desperately to argue. Because Agatha was by far. Agatha was the most zenith princess she'd ever seen. She wanted Agatha to stay. But how could Agatha listen to her? After class she went to the cafeteria. She wanted to tell Xiao Mei. She wanted to tell May some of her secrets. Before she could finish, May was violently taken away by the guards. She was locked up in the evil courtyard's solitary confinement room. No one knows what she went through in there. When she came out of the cell, she was a completely different person. She no longer chose to disguise herself. She faced her heart. In the end, under Xiao Mei's crazy pursuit, the prince fell completely. Due to the struggle between good and evil, the students on both sides don't recognize each other. Those in the good school don't want the prince to fall. But those in the evil academy don't want them to save the prince. In the end, the battle between the two sides was imminent. They even attracted the attention of the school's senior management. For the sake of fairness, the principal decided to put May and the prince to a test. Both of them have to enter the Black Forest from opposite directions. If they can find each other before dawn and survive, that would prove that they were truly in love. But May had never been to the Black Forest before. She doesn't know how dangerous it is at night. She thought a beautiful place would be safe. But she was bitten by a man-eating flower in the bushes. She managed to escape, and attracted the attention of the pumpkin golem. Agatha heard May's screams inside. She couldn't help but feel uneasy. So she violated the rules. She flew in as a bird. After helping May out of danger, they heard the prince's voice. Agatha quickly hid. May went to look for the prince. At that moment the prince was fighting with the pumpkin puppet. But she was no match for the furious puppet. Because Xiao Mei was never really in love with him. Her goal from the beginning is to get true love's kiss. To change her fate. However, this action inadvertently increased the puppet's strength. The prince asked Xiao Mei to throw the sword to him. But Xiao Mei was already shocked by the scene in front of her. Seeing that the prince was about to die, Agatha rushed forward with her sword. The prince also saw the opportunity to kill the pumpkin puppet. After this test, the prince saw the true face of Xiao Mei. She took out her magic handkerchief and gave up the test. However, what is surprising is that Xiao Mei not only didn't reflect on her behavior. Instead, she blamed Agatha for everything. Unexpectedly, it was this evil and selfish heart woke up the dean's brother completely. In the end, under the temptation of the dean's brother, Xiao Mei changed completely. She even learned the forbidden blood magic. Of the evil academy. Once you learn this kind of magic, once you learn it, you'll not only gain powerful dark energy, it can also change a person in a short period of time. Will completely change a person. When the teachers of the good and evil courts received the news, they rushed to the library. But it was too late. It was time for the annual Eternal Ball. It was the only ball for the Good Academy. Everyone was singing and dancing happily. At that moment, May suddenly came in. Her appearance had changed dramatically. She hoped that the prince would go out with her again. But the prince had already lost interest in her. But that's exactly what she wanted. The guards rushed out to protect the prince. But May's blood magic was easily defeated. Agatha advised May not to be consumed by evil. But May said that the two of them were sworn enemies. Unless one of them dies, the story will never end. After saying that, she turned around and left. At that moment the guards came in with a serious look on their faces. The guard told the prince to go to the hall. When they arrived at the hall, they found that all the teachers had been turned into stone statues. This made them furious. They grabbed their weapons and went to punish the scum of the academy. Agatha tried to stop them. But no one listened to her. Because from the beginning it was the evil house attacking. The good house defends. And if the good house attacked, no one knew what would happen. Agatha knew that this was all part of May's plan. She flew into the evil house as a dove. But she saw the students dancing. It turned out that Xiao Mei had organized the first hopeless ball of the evil academy. By now she was already getting old. With the intrusion of the good academy, a battle broke out between the two sides. The moment the good academy attacked, they already lost. Because once goodness attacks, becomes evil. And once evil becomes good, they will gain more power. This is all a trap for Xiao Mei. She's trying to turn the evil house into a good house. To restore her innocence. But she didn't know. She's already been corrupted by evil. Watching the chaos. Xiao Mei's heart was filled with great satisfaction. Then she flew into the principal's office as a black bird, preparing to forcefully rewrite her story. But she never realized. The dean's brother was the real mastermind behind the scene. It turns out that the battle between good and evil back then. The brother didn't disappear. Instead he killed his brother. He disguised himself as the other. Step by step she implanted evil thoughts into the Academy of Goodness. So that the power of goodness is no longer so pure. But her power is gradually increasing. She tried to control the power of both good and evil. But to accomplish this feat, she had to get true love's kiss. Mei didn't even think twice about giving her first kiss. But the next moment, the academy began to collapse. Everyone was going to die. Her brother lied to Mei. What she had built from the beginning. All she had built from the beginning was a world full of evil. Mei knew she had made a terrible mistake. But it was too late. And that's when Agatha arrived just in time. Until this moment, she still wanted to save her sister from her suffering. But her brother didn't want Agatha to ruin her plans. He urged the brush to kill her. But Mei blocked the blow with her own body. When Mei died, the power of true love's kiss disappeared. The Academy's castle began to recover. All the dead people came back to life. Then the prince sneaked in. She tried to sneak in. But she was nearly wounded. But Agatha took advantage of the situation and grabbed her magic sword. And cut her brother in half. After everything was calm, Agatha hugged Mei's body and cried. But the moment when her tears were dripping on Xiao Mei's body, a miracle happened. The fairy tale of the two was successfully rewritten. The people of the two colleges were completely reunited. In the end Agatha and Xiao Mei chose to return to that remote town. After this incident, their friendship would become unbreakable. But one day, a sword pierced the door between the two worlds. A mysterious voice came.